How's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the series of creating practical projects using Python and opencv module. And in this video we are going to build the functionality of in-out detection / visitors in our room. So enough talking, let us see what we are going to make in this video. Alright, so how did it go? I hope you would love this to create this project, and I hope you would be enough excited to build this project. So I hope you have good understanding what we are going to build in this video. So without wasting more time, let us directly dive in the video. So I have created a blank Python script and opened it in Sublime text editor if you are interested in knowing what IDE I am using. So first of all, we are going to just import cv2, and we would also need numpy. And first of all, we'll have to video capture, and for the source we would use 0 by default, and we will just run true loop, and we will read the frame. Let's call this frame 1, and we'll say cap.read, and we'll show this frame cv2.imshow. Let's call this window, and over here frame 1, and obviously cv2.wait key in order to get out of this loop. So we'll just stick to 27, which means escape key, and we'll release our camera source and also destroy all the windows, and obviously break out of loop. So basically this 5 or 6 lines of code, what these are doing, these are just reading our webcam of our laptop or computer, and using cap.read we are reading the frame, and this is the return, basically a boolean value, true or false, if it is successfully able to read the frame or not. So we are not interested in this variable at all. So now we'll just say cv2.imshow and name is window, and just it. So if I just save this and run it like this, just change it to in-out2.py. okay, so if I just run it like this, nothing is going to happen at all. We are just reading the frame, right? So now we are going to build the basic functionality. First of all, we are going to detect for motion. So I have already created video on how to detect motion, but still don't worry, I am again going to explain you. You may just skip to the next chapter if you know how to do motion detection, but still I will just recommend you to just stick to this video. So first of all, we would need 2 frames in order to detect for motion, if any motion happening or not. So we'll just read 2 frames. Now this frame 1 and frame 2 are 2 consecutive frames. To be more consistent, let me just take out this to out of the loop. So frame 1 and frame 2. Alright, so now we'll have to calculate the difference. It is really easy. We'll just use cv2.absolute difference. Now what this need 2 grayscale frames, but these are colored ones, so we'll have to convert them to grayscale. There is no use of color in this, so for reducing the computation power, we'll just convert them to grayscale. So let's call this g1 and g2. okay, first of all, let's just create g1. So we'll say cv2.cvt color, and in this source would be frame 1 obviously, and code would be cv2.color underscore bgr to gray. It's really simple. I have already created a series on this, so you may just go and check it out. I will link it in I button or in description. So now in this way we have our 2 grayscale frames g1 and g2. Let's pass them in over here, g1 and g2. So if I just save this and run it like this, nothing is going to happen, because we have to change this, show it to the user if we want to see what is going on. So we'll say cv2.imshow, we'll say window 2 this time, and what do we want to show is the diff. okay, so now if we run it, you would see that a really weird thing is happening, which is really interesting also. But what is happening is that we are not updating our frame 1, we are just updating frame 2 always. So this is the reason why difference always have me in the frame. So we'll update frame 1 also. It's really simple. We'll just have to say frame cap.read, and don't forget to add this. So let's run this, And now just have a look on this window 2, not window. So if I just make motion in window, then you can see that motion is happening in the window 2. If I just stay still, then nothing is going to appear on window 2, meaning we are successfully able to detect for motion. Now one thing I would like to change is making our image threshold. So what do I mean by threshold? Basically, if I just show you, then in window 2 the colors range from 0 to 255. The color can be 0, it can be 100, it can be 150, meaning it can be any value between 0 and 255. But this is not we want either 0 or 255, meaning black or white. So it is really easy to do. We'll just have to call the function in save2, which is threshold, and source, you know it is div, and thresh value, I'll just come to it later on. Let's just specify 30 over here. Let's give 255 over here, and type would be save2.thresh_binary. Okay, so instead of showing diff, let us show thresh this time. So now if I run this, okay, instead of this it should be something like this. We are interested in second variable, not first one. So let's run this. So have a look on window 2 this time, how it is different from the previous window 2. Okay, so now the colors are either 0 or 255. This is what we want actually. So let's come back to this function. What is actually happening? We are saying if the value of pixel is less than 30, set it to 0. If the value is greater than 30, set it to 255. So if I specify 150 over here, then you can see that how the color has been changed to gray instead of white. So this is what this value is doing, nothing too complex over here. So now we are going to detect for contours. For those who don't know what is contour, contour is basically a boundary around, a continuous boundary around 255. Okay, in a simple word, it is just a continuous boundary around set of points around motion happening. Okay, it's just simple. Okay, so now for detecting the contour, you just have to follow this line. So in this we are passing thresh. We are using find contour function. First of all, we are passing thresh, and this is a criteria. So this is the contour. This will be list of so many values, but we are not interested in all of the values. But first let us just be interested in all of the values, then you will see why we are not interested in all of the values. X comma y comma w comma h cv2 dot wait, you are not yet the part of this. Okay, so what we are doing, contour is list first of all, so we are iterating in the list. So what we are doing, we are saying cv2 dot bounding rectangle around this C. So it is, contour is list of list, so C is list. So what this function is going to return, it is going to return x and y position of rectangle and w comma h, meaning width and height of the rectangle. Basically, if this is the rectangle, then this will be x comma y position, this will be width, and this will be height. I hope this makes sense. So now we are just going to draw the rectangle. It's really easy. So we'll say save2 dot rectangle around, let's do around frame 1 actually. So point 1 I have already told you, x comma y. What will be point 2? Point 2 will be x plus w, y plus h. I hope this makes sense actually. So the color we want is green bgr, and let's give thickness of 2. So if I run it like this, then you would notice really weird thing. So many rectangles will be in the frame, so many, even smaller one, even larger one, but we are not interested in all of them. We are only interested in the largest rectangle, largest in the frame. So for that, what to do? It is really easy actually. Python is really simple. So for that we will use max function, which is inside Python. So it would need, first parameter would be the list of list, which is contour, and second will be key, based on what functionality or criteria you want to get the max value. So it is really simple. We want contour area function. You don't need this function parenthesis. So what this function is going to return, this is going to return only the list of that boundary which is the largest in the frame. So we'll just get rid of this loop because we don't need any more. Okay, so now if I run it like this, then you would get an error which is bit obvious actually. So what is the error? We didn't change C to contour in the bounding rectangle. Let us run this. I hope we'll get once again an error. Okay, but you can see that now this time we'll have only single rectangle at a time in the frame, which is perfectly what we want. But we would get an error once again if there is no motion. If there would be no motion, then trash would have all the values set to 0, then contour will be 0, it will be empty list, and if we pass empty list to this function, then it is going to return an error. So we have to surround it to either try or catch block, or you know what, we'll just say if length of contour is greater than 0, then do this. Yeah, so there we go. Now we are successfully able to detect for motion in the frame. Now coming back to drawing, let me just explain you what is the next thing we want to do. Okay, so based on my drawing skills, I have created this rectangle. So let us assume that this is our frame. Okay, let's say frame 1. So this is the frame 1. So now we will just split this frame actually in 3 parts. Let us say left, center and right. Okay, so we have splitted our frame into 3 parts. Now why we have done that, you will come to know in a bit. So over here, let's say if the x is 100, then if it is less than 100, then it will be left. And let us come over here and say if x is greater than 500, it is at 500, then it will be as right, and in between it will be as center. Alright, so now let us assume that our person is standing over here. Initially the frame is empty. Okay, so initially our person is standing over here, which we want to detect if he has entered in the room or got out of the room. So he is standing out of the room, and if he moves in this direction, then we want to detect that he has entered in the room. And if he goes from this direction to this direction, then we want to detect that he has got out of the room. Now how we would be able to do so? Basically we will be using these coordinates. So if I go back to my code, then over here there is a x value, which is the coordinate of rectangle. So we are going to make use of this x value. Basically we are going to check if x is less than 100, meaning if the motion is happened in this region, then we are going to create a variable called left, and we are going to activate it by setting it to true. And if the motion happened in this, okay, and if the motion is continuous and is happening in center region, then we'll again create a center variable and we'll just activate it to true. And last, if the motion was coming from this direction, came to over here, and at last obviously it will come over here also. So the if motion came over here, meaning if x is greater than 500, then we will say that motion is perfectly happened from left to right direction, or you can say that the person has been entered in the room. Okay, I hope this makes sense, and this is actually really easy algorithm to implement. It will just take 10 to 20 line of code and we would be able to create this functionality. So let us create that. Basically, if motion happen from right to left, we are just going to follow up same strategy. So let us just code, and I hope things will make more sense in your mind. So let's do that. So as I said, we'll have 3 variables called left, center and right, and all of them are false. Okay, so we have created the variables called left, center and right. We'll come over here and we will first of all check if the frame is empty or not. How we would be able to do so. It is really easy. We will check if not left and not right, meaning left and right both are false, meaning no one has yet entered in the frame. And in this we will check if x is less than 100. Is already I have told you what does this mean. We will set left to true and will come in else if part, and we will say if x is greater than 500, then set right to true. So till now we have created this functionality by setting left equals to true, either right is equals to true, based on motion happening in this region or this region. Alright, so now you might actually be able to detect this, that what if there is no motion, meaning no x will going to be created. So how basically this is going to be executed. So for that purpose we'll just set x to some random value which is inside 100 and 500, so that true, left and right don't accidentally become true. Alright, so now we'll move further in this video and we will check if left is true. Now if left is true, basically we are going to check if x is greater than 100 and x is less than 500 and contour is not yet set, sorry, not contour, center is not set yet. Then we are going to set center is equals to true, meaning what does this mean actually? So let us take an example. So if the person has entered in this left region, then left will be activated, then he will go in this region, center region, and x will be in between 100 and 500, so center will be going to be activated by setting it to true. So we are basically doing this thing over here. And now last thing, if person enters in right region, so what is going to happen? So we are going to check if x is greater than 500. In this, if center is true, then we are going to say motion in right taken place, right? It would be basically motion towards right taken place. Similarly, we are going to do the same for right part also. L if right, and I'm just going to copy this once again. Basically the center would be same always, and we will come over here and just paste it, and instead of greater than 500 it will be less than 100. Okay, now what if the person has gone from this direction to this direction, meaning left will be activated and center will be activated, but what if next time if someone want to enter from this direction, then left is already activated, so we have to deactivate it by setting it to false. So we'll come over here and we'll just deactivate center as well as left over here. Like just copy it and paste it over here, and instead of left it will be right. Alright, I hope if we run it like this it should basically work. Let us actually try that. Basically over here it should be towards left. Alright, so basically it is actually working. It would feel like it is perfectly working, but it is not. Let me just explain you. I have to clear all this. I'll just see you in a bit. Alright, I am back, and let us divide this to left and right, and let us call this L, C and R. Basically what is the problem currently is that if someone creates motion in this region but do not go in the center and go back from over here, what this will result in, this will basically result in activating the left. Okay, so meaning let me just take you through that. So left will be activated, so this will be activated, right? So next time this is not going to run at all, because this condition will set to false and this set to true, and false and true is false, and this is not going to run. But instead this is going to run. Okay, So left is always going to run and right is always not going to work, and this is going to stuck until someone come from this side and go to this side. I hope this is the flaw in our algorithm. So how do we manage to fix that? Basically, if someone goes in this direction and go back to this direction but do not enter in this region, and someone want to come from this region to this region, it is not going to predict it. Okay, so how would you be able to do so? I would recommend you to pause the video and just try to solve it, then you would get a lot of from this video. All right, so let me just tell you how can you be able to do so. So if someone enters in this direction and do not enters in C region, which means C will be false. Okay, and if someone goes back without activating C, meaning C is still false. So we have to do something over here. What we can do? So over here, center is not activated yet, but the X is greater than 500. How? So someone enter from here, gone out, but next time someone want to enter from here and go in this direction, which means X will be greater than 500. Okay, so if X is greater than 500 but the center is not activated yet, so what you can do, you can come over here and in the else part you can set right is equals to true. It's that simple. Similarly, in this region you'll come over here and set left is equals to true. All right, so I hope you would be able to imagine how the things will going to work this time. Similarly, we want to come over here and set right is equals to false, and come over here set left is equals to false. All right, so this is it for this video. One last thing I would like to create is using Numpy window in order to create a dialogue, or basically the mask, or basically just a window which will tell if someone going to the left or right. So we'll say np.zeros, and zeros shape will be 200 width and 200 height and 400 width. Let's just copy this because this is going to be always updated whenever the motion is happen. Yeah, something like this. And after updating this, we are going to put the text over here, and the text will be on mask, and text is to right and to left. All right, so let us run our final product or project. Let us run this. It is creating error. Yeah, right is equals to false. Let us run this once again. Now hopefully everything is fine. So yeah, this is it for this video. I hope today you would have learned something new and exercise your mind by just learning to create this code or algorithm in order to detect who has entered in your room and gone out of the room. Basically, if you want to add up more functionalities to this, the code will be in down description. You may just go there and check it out. And that is it. I will see you in the next video.